Hello, YouTube. Luigi here. I'm going to read you a poem by A. Milne, you know, the creator of Christopher Robin and Winnie the Pooh and all that gang. I was lucky enough to have a stay-at-home mom who would read these poems to me and my sister Christine and Louise. In the 50s, everybody had a stay-at-home mom. It's just the way it was. The 50s were a neat time. One car was enough for a family. There was one phone, it was tethered to the wall. There were 3 network TV stations, and you had to get out of your chair to turn them. And life was great, man. After World War II, when the rest of the world was lying in ashes, we manufactured 90% of the stuff made in the world. These were great times for our countries before we started shipping our industries overseas and before our greedy-ass corporations moved their operations overseas to exploit cheap labor. The 50s were a great time. In fact, history will probably record it was the peak of our civilization, and it's been going downhill ever since. Okay, I'm going to read a poem called The King's Breakfast. Enough pontificating. I'm actually sorry about that. It just came out of me. There are 4 voices in this poem. The king, the queen, the dairymaid, and the Alderney, or the cow. I'm going to do my best here, okay? The King's Breakfast. The king asked the queen, and the queen asked the dairymaid, "Could we have some butter for the royal slice of bread?" The queen asked the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, "Certainly, I'll go and tell the cow now, before she goes to bed." The dairymaid, she curtsied and went and told the Alderney, "Don't forget the butter for the royal slice of bread." The Alderney said sleepily, "You better tell His Majesty that many people nowadays like marmalade instead." The dairymaid said, "Fancy," and went to Her Majesty. She curtsied to the Queen, and she turned a little red. "Excuse me, Your Majesty, for taking of the liberty, but marmalade is tasty if it's very thickly spread." The Queen said, "Oh," and went to His Majesty. "Talking of the butter for the royal slice of bread, many people think that marmalade is nicer. Would you like to try a little marmalade instead?" The King said, "Bother!" And then he said, "Oh, dear me." The King sobbed, "Oh, dearie me," and went back to bed. "Nobody," he whimpered, "could call me a fussy man. I only want a little bit of butter for my bread." The Queen said, there, and went to the dairymaid. The dairymaid said, there, and went to the shed. The cow said, there, I didn't really mean it. Here's milk for his porringer and butter for his bread. The Queen took the butter and brought it to His Majesty. The King said, "Butter, eh?" and bounced out of bed. "Nobody," he said, as he kissed her tenderly. "Nobody," he said, as he slid down the banisters. "Nobody, my darling, could call me a fussy man. But I do like a little bit of butter to my bread."